What's up, my beautiful bros? Maine-iac here with another power rankings for NFL Week 14. We got an interesting one here. 3/4 of the season are done, 12 games everyone's played, and we're gonna give our third quarter grades to everyone as well as their power rankings. Now we're gonna make this as quick as possible. Only gonna explain people who need explanation, and other ones are gonna get quick ones. Browns 32, nothing else to say. Giants moved down to 31. They dropped 3 spots, fired their head coach, fired the GM. Eli Manning's back in the lineup, but there's still nothing around him, and it's looking like they're going to get the number 2 overall pick. At number 30, we have the Bears. They got a D plus for 3/4 through. I think at least the expectations for Mitch Trubisky were a little higher. Other than that, the Bears did almost nothing during the offseason to help out a young quarterback in Trubisky, so they kind of got themselves in their own mess. So this grade's not only a performance one, it's kind of a front office one too, because they did mess up. The Colts are at 29. They gain a spot. They actually just switched with Chicago. They also got a D plus. Like I said, with Chicago, the front office didn't make any moves to help out this team. But the Colts, without Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett showed some flashes in the pan, but ever since then he's kind of simmered, and these two teams are heading for top 5 draft picks. At number 28, we have the slightly impressive San Francisco 49ers. Now, their grade is not a reflection so much of their record as is expectations in a way. They did win Jimmy Garoppolo's first start, 5 field goals, great performance by their kicker, Robbie Gould, I believe. They move up 3 spots to 28. Their grade is going to be a C. Their expectations weren't too high, but I like the direction they're going. And at number 27, we have the Denver Broncos going in the opposite direction. They dropped 3 spots, and their grade is a D minus. Their offense looks absolutely terrible, and as talented as their defense is, their defense cannot carry the team any longer, which is concerning, because is it time to rebuild? Is it time to start trading away some pieces on the defense maybe to improve the offense, maybe get some draft picks? I gotta give them a D minus because it might be rebuild time in Denver. At number 26, we have the Arizona Cardinals at moving up 1, which after a respectable performance against the Rams. This one, their grade is going to be a C. No David Johnson, no Carson Palmer. I don't think anyone expected this out of them in the recent weeks, so congrats to them. And at number 25, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They stayed even this week. Their grade is a D+. Injuries have hampered them quite a bit, but the inconsistent play of Jameis Winston and their defense has sunk this team's season. Next year, maybe they'll improve. Who knows? Same thing with the Buccaneers. Texans at number 24 dropping 6 spots. It was the inevitable drop of the Tom Savage effect, I should call it. I'm going to give their grade a C. Losing stars like Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson aren't easy. They've performed well. Their front office has made good moves this year. They're set up for sustained success in the future. I like this. I like the draft pick of Deshaun Watson, and even after losing him, they haven't been playing terrible. They've been playing bad, but not like absolutely terrible. They've been in some games, so I'm gonna give them an average grade just because of what they've went through. They're performing exactly as expected. And at number 23, we have the Dolphins moving up 3, and I'm gonna give them a C minus. They thought Jay Cutler would be their savior, but I believe they're 4-7, 5-7 right now. Yeah, I believe they're 5-7. And I feel like Adam Gase is making some mistakes that he shouldn't. When you have an offense that has Jarvis Landry, Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, and Jay Ajayi, then you trade away Ajayi because your offense isn't performing well enough. I don't think it has something to do with your necessary offensive talent. To me, that's more of a reflection of coaching. I honestly just realized this rounds out the AFC East except for one team. We have the Bills dropping 7 spots to number 22. Major concern here, and the reason for the drop, and giving them a C minus, is injuries to Tre'Davious White after the dirty hit. Injuries to Shaq Lawson, really promising young defender. and injuries to Tyrod Taylor, even though they were not serious. It's a disappointing season for me for the Bills because I expected a lot more out of them. I give them a C minus. Sean McCoy's played decent, but there's been too many weeks where the Bills just disappeared, and it's just kind of sad. As for the Jets, I'm giving them a C plus, and they move up one spot to 21. They performed well considering their roster. Everyone thought they were tanking, but to be sitting there at the record that they are is quite impressive indeed. Josh McCown, Robbie Anderson, definitely a diamond in the rough. If he can polish up his game a little bit, he could become one of the better receivers in the league, I should say. And here we have in first teams in the top 20, two of the greatest franchises in NFL history, at least in the past. We have the Oakland Raiders at moving up one to number 20. Their grade D minus. They've been performing terribly. Their offense is just a joke. Their defense is a joke. But their record at 6-6 reflects that they have been doing something right. That's why they're 20th in the power rankings. But I give them a D minus because after doing so good, and Derek Carr coming back off an injury, and everyone being like, "Oh, if Derek Carr was healthy, we could have made it to the Super Bowl." This just shows you their defense is so bad. I cannot give them a passing grade. Even with Khalil Mack, yeah, Khalil Mack. That's their defense. Number 19, we have the Green Bay Packers performing admirably in Aaron Rodgers' absence. I have to give Brett Hundley some credit. He's improved quite a bit in the starting role. Maybe increased his trade stock. Who knows? The Browns could be interested. They move up 4 spots to number 19, seriously, though. C plus grade for them. I like what Brett Hundley's done. They get Aaron Rodgers back soon, hopefully, for a playoff push, even though they're probably sunk already. It looks like 11-5 is going to be what you're going to need for the playoffs, and they are 6-6, I think. So it's looking kind of bad for them. But admirably in Aaron Rodgers' absence, they have a decent record. Not much more to say to that. Now, these two teams here, I think both of them are projected to do better at the beginning of the season, but I digress. They're heading in opposite directions. We have at number 18, the Kansas City Chiefs dropping 1 spot. Their grade's a D plus. I'd say that they started out 5-0, expected to be one of the best teams in the league. Alex Smith was an MVP candidate. Kareem Hunt was a Rookie of the Year candidate, probably a Rookie of the Year lock in the first few weeks. But then something happened and the Chiefs just absolutely collapsed. I can't explain it. It looks like an effort issue, a coaching issue, execution issue. I don't think their offense utilizes their talents up to the capabilities that they have. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Kareem Hunt should be running all over the league. When you have someone as fast as Tyreek Hill and as elusive as Kareem Hunt and as big and strong and mismatchy as Kelce, then you should be dominating the league. But I think this issue comes down to the lack of receivers 2 and 3, lack of quality backup running back, even though granted there's injuries there, and their defense just falling apart without Barry. And at number 17, we have the Cincinnati Bengals moving up 2 spots to number 17 after an impressive loss to the Steelers. Now, I say impressive loss because they hung in a lot better than I thought they would. AJ Green showed up, which was nice. Andy Dalton did sail some open throws, but he played decent. Their grade so far is a C. They're right now average. I believe they're 5-7, something like that. They're still alive in the AFC playoff hopes, but they're dead in the water to me. Little late change, actually. I was going to say Cowboys Lions, but I'm going to change it. Cowboys 16, Redskins 15. Cowboys move up 4 spots after an okay win against the Redskins. Their defense has stepped up a little bit. They get Ezekiel Elliott back soon. Their grade's a C minus. I give them a little bit of a break for the injuries they suffered, especially losing Sean Lee on defense. But the Cowboys are starting to piece it back together, which is okay to see. The Redskins, on the other hand, they move up just 1 spot to number 15. I think their jump is more of a Bills collapse than their gain. The Cowboys caught up to them, but I think it was a bad game from Kirk Cousins, so I want to give them a small break, but I don't know if I can. Their grade is a C plus, considering all the injuries they've had. they've been performing okay, but Cousins is not earning his contract at this rate. At number 14, we have the Lions dropping 3 spots. Originally, I had them at 4, but then I thought it through a little bit. They get a C. Some poor performances from the Lions this season. Matthew Stafford has been inconsistent, with no running game to speak of necessarily. Maybe they trade up in the draft, get Saquon Barkley or Love, who knows. I just know they need a playmaker at the running back position, and that would help them out a lot. Their defense has been playing okay, but okay won't get you too far. Now, number 13, we have the Baltimore Ravens gaining 1 spot. They get a B- because they've had some important injuries throughout the year, including Jimmy Smith being out for the year at this point. Now, I do like the Ravens. They have a great defense, honestly, but I don't know how they're going to perform without Jimmy Smith. And that suspension also kind of a little heartbreaking to me because I loved what Jimmy Smith was doing this year, and to find out he was on PEDs, it's kind of sad. But Ravens offense, if they can turn it around, they'll definitely be a threat in the playoffs. At number 12, we have the Tennessee Titans. I gave them a B-. They move up 1 spot as well. They've been playing okay this year. Marcus Mariota, to me, has regressed a little bit, at least throwing. He's still as mobile as ever, even after his injury last year. Their run game's performing well. Their rookie receiver hasn't gotten onto the field as much as I would like. But other than that, I like Rashard Matthews. I like Delanie Walker. I think Delanie Walker is criminally neglected by the league. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. And their defense hasn't been playing up to snuff every week, but their defense does show up when they need to. So there's that. And then at Falcons at number 11, they drop 3 spots. I'm going to give them a B. Super Bowl hangover or not, they've been playing okay football. They're not in the playoffs at this point, but they have Julio Jones, they have Matt Ryan, Devontae Freeman. It's hard to drop them too much, even after a disappointing loss to the top-rated defense in the Vikings, or at least my top-rated defense in the Vikings. They dropped 3 spots. One of the factors of them dropping 3 spots is them dropping out of the playoff implications right now, at least with a 7-5 record, with the wild cards having an 8-4. The same rule does not apply for the Chargers. At number 10, we have the Chargers gaining 2 spots. Congratulations, Los Angeles. They get a B+ for how well they've improved throughout the year, at least. They move up 2 spots. They're tied for their division lead. They're, I believe, a game behind in the wild card. But with the likes of the Ravens facing the Steelers and the Chargers having a relatively easy schedule, I can put them up here safely. I believe they'll make the playoffs. I keep saying every week I like the duo of Ingram and Bosa on the defense. If Verrett wasn't injured, it's kind of scary to imagine how good this defense would be. And I love how their offense is coming together. Keenan Allen, seeing him healthy for the year. Oh, it's just been a dream come true. But this just happens to be the year I don't draft him in fantasy. And at number 9, we have the Panthers dropping 2 spots. This wasn't their fault. I'm giving them an A-. They've been playing great football this year. This loss was more of just a better opponent kind of thing, just a little outmatched. They're still in the wild card hunt, it's pretty solidly locked in there at this point. They dropped 2 spots. I just feel like the people ahead of them earned the right to be ahead of them. And number 9 is not an insult whatsoever. Now into the top 8, the Elite 8, or whatever you want to say. The Jaguars move up 2 spots to number 8. They get an A- for how well they played this year. Their defense is possibly one of the best in the league. I'd probably rank them second out of pure star power alone. Calais Campbell, very underrated addition to that defense. And then you have people like A.J. Bowie and Jalen Ramsey, probably the best 1-2 punch at corner in the league. Problem with the Jaguars, though, is offense. It's always been offense. Leonard Fournette, really bright spot for this team. One of the reasons they get an A-. Been playing really well. Blake Bortles has improved, but not nearly much. Does that change when they get Robinson back next year? I don't know. This isn't next year. This is this year. And number 7, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Impressively shutting down the Philadelphia Eagles. Might have been via an illegal forward pass, but who knows? Seahawks move up 2 spots. Their defense, I thought originally, and I had the defense, I had the Seahawks a little sunk a little bit a few weeks ago because I thought the injuries would affect them more, but their defense is still playing solid. They beat the best team in the NFC, or at least the previous best team in the NFC. And it was a good game overall. Russell Wilson's definitely playing on an MVP caliber level. Definitely one of the threats in the playoffs this year. At number 6, we're running into the top 5. We have the New Orleans Saints. They stay even. They had a good win over the Panthers. Good solid week. They have an A for the year. Defense is playing outstanding football. Or at least compared to their expectations, outstanding football. Their defense is actually, to me, just playing solid football. But when you have Drew Brees at quarterback, that's all you need is solid football. Even though Drew Brees is not playing on a Drew Brees level. Drew Brees is playing more on a typical Phillip Rivers level, and Phillip Rivers is playing on a Drew Brees level. If you can follow that, which is kind of confusing. Running game here, probably the best 1-2 punch at running back in the league. You'll notice that these other teams probably have the best at something, and it's kind of funny how that works that way. But sometimes that's how it works. And the Steelers drop one spot this week. They get an A. Defense has really stepped it up. There's some injury concerns. And Steelers playing great. Brown, Bell, Ben are all playing solid football, good football. Sometimes the only problem with Schuster, Brown, and Bell as a combo is there are weeks where one of them doesn't show up. If they can get all 3 of those guys involved every week, this team might be favorites to win the Super Bowl. And no, this is not a reflection of the top 2 teams currently. As you know, the Rams I have moving up 1 spot to number 4. I think this case of the Steelers dropping, Rams gaining is more of a quality of win kind of issue. That's what you get around the top, is a quality of win kind of issue. The Rams I give them an A. They've been playing great football, great turnaround. Sean McVay, probably rookie of the, or coach of the, actually no. I'm going to sign a petition. Let's start a petition right now. Sean McVay, rookie of the year, because I believe coaches should be available for rookie of the year candidacy, especially when it's their very first season as a head coach. Sound good? Sounds good to me. Rams completely turned around compared to last year. They're playing solid football. To me, they're favorites to be in the NFC Championship game against one of the next teams. At number 3, you have the Eagles dropping 2 spots after a devastating loss to the Seahawks. They play good football. Carson Wentz turned the ball over a few times. They get an A+ though because they played great football. Their record 10-2, nothing to laugh at. Second seed in the NFC currently. They're heading in the right direction for sure. At number 22, we have the Minnesota Vikings moving up 1 spot. I give them an A+. Never expected all this from Casey Keenum. He's playing quite well. Undrafted guy, great player. Great heart in this guy, great competitor. Their defense, one of the best in the league. Definitely Super Bowl caliber defense. Probably the favorites in the NFC at this point. Number 1 seed in the NFC. Great team, great chances. I like them. Number 1 with the Patriots. Not a bias. Do not at me. Do not comment in the section down below. Not a bias. I'm going to explain my reasoning for having Patriots at number 1. I give them an A, not an A+. Well, part of this is expectations, at least. I never expected them to go undefeated. I actually had them losing possibly the game against the Panthers just because I know we struggle against mobile quarterbacks. And when we face a mobile quarterback, I get nervous. But reason for them to be number 1, not just the record. They're 10-2. The 3 of the top 4 teams are 10-2. But their defensive turnaround is a big reason as well. They went from dead last in the league in the first 4 weeks of yards per game allowed to, I believe, this month alone so far out of 2 games. Or, yeah, I guess you can say 1 or 2 games or something like that. They've allowed an average of 200 and something yards a game combined, which is impressive turnaround. Granted, they've had weak opponents in the Dolphins and Bills. Now, they get a test in a couple weeks against the Steelers, and that could very well decide the AFC. Currently, they're the number 2 seed. And it's weird having a 2 seed be a 1 overall in the power rankings, but when you have Tom Brady and you have a system like the Patriots, where every week you can do something different, every week your game plan is made to exploit the opponent's weakness, no matter what it is, whether it be receiving backs, running the ball, tight ends, speedy wide receivers, short passes. They tend to be able to do almost anything. I like that about them. I'm not going to say the running back tandem is the best in the league, but it's probably one of the most dangerous for the fact that they have 3 wide receivers in Burkhead, White, and Lewis who can all catch, who can all run. They can bull you over or they can spread out wide. It's incredible the versatility all 3 of them have. No Gronkowski this week, but I believe this week might be Hollister's week to shine. And there you have it, guys. Power rankings and grades for this week. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Down below, hit that bell if you want. I do this every week on Wednesday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.